Hello there! Ida is not my name, and I'm so happy you decided to stop by. Today I'm going to be drawing Dipper and Mabel from Gravity Falls, but I thought I'd draw them in my favorite style, which is Gremlincore. If you don't know what it is, it's kind of like cottagecore, but more based in the woods and more based on like moss and mushrooms and darker colors. I just adore it, and I think Gravity Falls fits that mold really, really well. I decided to age up the characters a little bit. I don't know, I just thought that forest core would definitely be something that they would be into, especially Dipper. I feel like, let's see, Dipper was 12 he turned 13 in 2012. Dipper and Mabel turned 13 in 2012. So they're like well over 20 now. It kind of freaks me out to think about, but I imagine they're in their early 20s and just getting into forest core. They're super into it. They like it. More Dipper than Mabel, but I thought I couldn't do only one twin. I couldn't do one without the other. So Dipper here, I kept a lot of his features. I had to keep a hat. It's not the hat he has in the show. I gave him a little straw hat. But I kept his red nose. I added in some freckles. And then I gave him this jumper, which I absolutely adore, and paired with some dungarees or overalls. And I just thought it fit the aesthetic so well, and he looks really, really cute. And the sweater is like a mossy green. It's got a couple shades of green, and there's sunflowers on it. I thought it was really cute. I originally wanted the sweater to be like green, red, and orange, but it just didn't fit. I tried out a couple things. And I also gave him this like two-headed mushroom thing, because even though he looks more like a farmer than like an investigative person, like his great Uncle Ford is, I thought he'd still be exploring the strange and unexplainable. So I gave him a two-headed mushroom, and I gave him journal number 3. I'll put it in his pocket here in just a second. But I also gave him some pins. I gave him a little frog pin and a heart pin, and also the trans flag pin. If you don't know, some people have the headcanon that Dipper is a trans boy, and I really like that headcanon. You, of course, don't have to follow it, but it just seems super sweet to me, and it makes a lot of sense. But here we are, we're finishing up his pins. You'll see me add in the colors. It's barely visible, but I really like adding journal number 3. It seems like it fits right in his pocket. I added a belt loop, which is what I used the picture for. I've never drawn overalls or dungarees before, so I had to pull up a picture to see what they look like, even though I wear them like every day. And this is basically Dipper finished. The rest of it is just kind of me fine-tuning some things. I add a background. And I thought about adding some jewelry or something, but I think it just fit to be this simple. And now we're moving on to Mabel. Mabel I had a lot more trouble with, because, Dipper, he was the first one. I had like a bunch of ideas for it. But I figured Mabel would be one of those people who had like prosthetic elf ears, and I really love that look. So I did the same thing that I did to Dipper, where, I slimmed down their face a little. I just kind of made them look a little bit older. And I gave her a necklace. It's a little hard to tell, but eventually I'm going to put the bi flag on her necklace. But I gave her kind of this like frilly, I don't know if it's a shirt or a shawl, a top that has a little pattern on it. I couldn't decide what to use for the pattern, so I ended up with mushrooms and hearts. And I was super happy with it. I really like the way she came out. I had a hard time making her look Mabel-y, because Mabel is such like a bright, energetic character that I think kind of like forest core, gremlin core just didn't really fit super well. And I also didn't give her like the big smile that she usually has, because I'm awful at drawing teeth and bean mouths. So I decided to copy and paste a couple things that Dipper had onto her. Like I gave her the same rosy cheeks. I thought about giving her a note, like, the red nose that he has, but it just didn't really work. I also tried to give her longer eyelashes, but they just looked like spider legs. It did not look good. And here's me moving on to the shirt. So as I mentioned, I did have a lot of problems with her. Even when I finished the outfit, I was like, no, this isn't right. This doesn't look like Mabel. So you'll see me trying out a bunch of things with her hair. It was a bit of a journey to get there, but I was really happy with the end result, and I think they both look super, super good. I decided to kind of copy the heart color that Dipper had, and also use the same color of the mushrooms that was on his two-headed mushroom, so I think they're still very connected. I changed up her hair, made it a little bit closer to her original color. That was something I did with both of them, is I got their hair a little bit darker, but I think I went a little bit too much with Mabel. So here I thought like I was going to be finished up. I thought this would be the end. This is just me fixing some layers and giving her a background, which is just orange. But then I decided, no, it doesn't look enough like her. I'm going to give her a headband, but I decided to make it leaf-like, and I have never drawn, is it like a laurel or a wreath? I've never drawn one of these before, so I had to use a reference picture. I drew it way too thin and had to go over it, but I really liked the way it turned out. It was a little bit too small based on the reference that I was using, so I added some leaves on in the end, but I just think it kind of like calls back to her headband. I think it looks really, really good. And I think it looks really pretty on her. It's wild to see these characters in my style and say like, hey, I drew that. Well, with that, I'm just adding a couple details to her arms, and then we're done. Thank you so much for watching. Oh, sorry, adding some flowers to her hair, the same sunflowers as her brother, very important. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I hope you come again soon. Thank you so much. Subscribe if you can, but no pressure. Hope you enjoyed. Bye.